So I've been putting off this video for a while because it's kind of a negative video and I really don't want to hit that, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not really a good time for moviegoers, man. If you are a fan of whether it be Marvel, DC, Star Wars, it's not really a good time for you. We're hoping that DC kind of turns it around, but Marvel has just been on another level of up and down that I can't even explain. And I'm gonna try to maybe together, me, you watching, we can come up with some kind of explanation on why this is, because I feel like this is more of a death of a thousand cuts. Now, the movie hasn't done well. I don't think that's a big surprise. I mean, there was a lot of stuff, especially in the marketing, that didn't do this movie any justice, didn't help this movie at all. So we're gonna show the this week's weekend box office, and it comes in at number 4, and it's been in the theater for 5 weeks, and only brought in 5 million this past weekend. That's not good, ladies and gentlemen. Like, no matter how you slice it, that's not a good number. And then if we go over to its overall box office run within 5 weeks, it's not even hitting 400 million at this point. And it's not just failing here, it's failing internationally as well. The movie only grossed so far 388 million worldwide. That's not good, no matter how you slice it. So why? Why did this movie fail? I think it's easy for people to automatically just point the finger and say racism. Racism is the answer. I don't think that's the answer. I think that's a cop-out answer. Do I feel that there is some sort of racism involved with some of the numbers? Yeah, I do. I think it's a death of a thousand cuts. I remember when Solo bombed at the box office, everybody wanted to say, oh, it's because of The Last Jedi. And I'm like, no, it's because the movie came out 2 weeks after Infinity War. The movie came out like 6 months after the last Star Wars movie. There was like a million different reasons why Solo failed. It wasn't just one or two things. And I feel like that's sort of the same thing with Captain America Brave New World. It isn't just one or two things. Is there a couple bigots out there that refuse to see a black Captain America? I'm willing to bet, yeah, there probably is. But is that number so large to affect the box office in this capacity? I beg to differ, to be honest with you. So what is the problem? And my answer is a plethora of different things. It could be a decline in Marvel. We had this whole thing where like up and down and around we go. Like one movie does good, one movie does bad, one movie does good, one movie does bad. Now, my argument is, let's say hypothetically, we blame racism. That I don't believe that's the answer, but let's hypothetically say, yeah, it's racism. There's a lot of white people out there that doesn't want to see a black Captain America. It's racism. Ladies and gentlemen, judging by these numbers, the black audience didn't go see the movie either. So we can't blame racism. We just can't do that, right? We've seen the black audience go in droves to go see Black Panther and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Even all the backlash from Wakanda Forever, that movie still was able to hit almost $1 billion. That movie still hit like $800 million. So even with the audience split on the recasting of T'Challa, that movie still made over $800 million. You look at something like Brave New World and you want to sit there and point the finger and go, it's racism. Well, the black audience didn't go see it either. So are we really going to blame racism, or are we just going to blame the fact that the Marvel IP isn't what it used to be since Endgame? Marvel has gotten cocky. I don't know how many people actually want to admit that. We see this all the time. When you are always winning and you're winning and you're winning and you're winning, you feel invincible, like you can do no wrong. And then you start to get cocky. We've seen companies do this before. We've seen the PlayStation 2 sell 150 million consoles. They got cocky, came out with the PS3. Guess what? They started smelling themselves a little bit, feeling themselves a little bit, and guess what? Tried to charge $600 for a console, and guess what? The PlayStation 3 bombed. The Xbox 360, phenomenal hit. Guess what? They got a little cocky. Microsoft introduced the Xbox One with this Kinect, tried to charge people $500. Guess what? Microsoft and the Xbox still has not recovered from that complete fumble. Companies fumble all the time. You get cocky, you think you could do no wrong, and you fumble. We're seeing this with Marvel. They come out, Endgame, at the time, the highest grossing movie of all time, and they feel like, hey, we can do no wrong. The first movie of Phase 4 was about a character who already died, and it was a prequel. People don't want to go backwards. We want to go forward. What's happening after Endgame? We already know what's going to happen to Black Widow. How does this move the movie, the franchise forward? It doesn't. People didn't want to see a movie of. We wanted Black Widow in Phase 2 and 3. We didn't want Black Widow after Endgame. We already know how the story ends for her. And then what's the next movie out the gate? Shang-Chi, a character that no one even heard of. Who is Shang-Chi? What, like, no. And then they get even cockier. We're going to do Eternals. A group of, you know, Shang-Chi, one superhero that you have no idea anything about. Well, guess what? We're going to give you like 5 or 6. We're going to introduce the Eternals. Nobody knew anything about this. Your first 3 movies after your big Endgame event is a prequel to a dead character, a character we never heard of, and a group of characters we never heard of. And then we hear nothing for the longest time. And then you give us a sequel to Thor, and it's one of the worst movies of all time. You make us wait on Doctor Strange. You make us wait on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because you guys decided to fire the director out of nowhere. Like, you fumbled the football. Whether you want to admit that or not, Marvel fumbled the football. And there's a lot of different reasons, right? We could blame Disney Plus. Properties that should have been movies, they put on Disney Plus. There are certain properties that belong on television. There are certain properties that should be on TV, on the big screen. Falcon Winter Soldier should have been the next Captain America movie. It should have been in theaters. You did it. Guess what? You put it on Disney Plus. Why would people go see Captain America Brave New World when we could sit there and watch it on Disney Plus? That's the mindset. That's what you condition the audience to. And we can sit here and say, well, we're to blame because we wanted more content. When Disney Plus came out, we were like, where's the content? Where's the content? Where's the content? Well, we are the consumer. We have the right to demand the content. You need to provide the content. That's the way it goes. We give you our money, you give us what we paid for. So it doesn't matter if Disney Plus is the reason why these movies are failing. That was up to you as a studio and a company to put that content on Disney Plus. Now you condition the audience to say, you know what? I'll just wait for Disney Plus. Heck, I am conditioned to do that with most movies. I used to go to the movies all the time. I would go see like 100 movies a year. And now I look at it and go, do I really want to deal with inconsiderate fucks at the theater? Or will I just wait and just watch it on my big 75-inch TV and surround sound? Guess what? I'd rather watch it at home. And I do that with a lot of films because we are conditioned that way. COVID changed us. There's a lot of different reasons why Captain America failed. A lot of different reasons. And I feel like the audience just wants to pick to one thing. Oh, they want to pick to a black Captain America. Oh, we want to pick to racism. Oh, we want to talk about how Marvel's failed. It's a lot of different reasons. Our society changed a lot since Endgame. We went through a pandemic. We went through an earth-alter changing event. Whether nobody wants to believe that or not, COVID changed the way we live day to day. We do things different now. You know, we are conditioned. And when you have shows like Daredevil Born Again, Paradise, House of the Dragon, Shogun, these type of level of shows on TV, on streaming services, why are we going to go to the theater? Why are we going to drive 20, 30 minutes to the theater, pay to park, pay $30 a ticket, pay $10 for a drink, and then go sit in the theater while someone is just sitting on their phone, not caring about the movie? Why do all that? We can just sit home and watch it. That's not what the movie studios want to hear. But unfortunately, that is the reality of the situation. That is I am very picky and choosy of what I go see in theaters. And it's not that I don't love the theaters. I love the theater experience. I absolutely love it. But unfortunately, we just live in a society where it just does not pay to go to the theater because of all the different things you have to deal with. And you take that and you add the fact that Marvel came out of the gate of Phase 4 just fumbling the football. They could never. They're just fumbling it, just like blah, blah. You know. Maybe if they would have came out of the gate and had Captain America 4 right out the gate. Okay, we're going to start phase 4 like this, ladies and gentlemen. Phase 4, we're going to come out of the gate. We're going to do Captain America 4 right out the gate, guys. And instead of giving us the Falcon Winter Soldier show, that is your premise for your first movie. Then Brave New World could be the sequel to that movie. But you give us Shang-Chi, and full disclosure, I enjoyed Shang-Chi. I enjoyed Eternal. I'm like one of the few that enjoyed Eternals. You don't start your next phase. Everybody's wondering, like, where do you go after Thanos? And you give us this. And we're like, what are we supposed to do with this? And then you start building like this Kang thing and then the multiverse thing. And really, what are the successes in phase 4 and 5? Right? The movies that I can actually say I really enjoyed was Spider-Man No Way Home. I think Doctor Strange 2 was mediocre, but okay. It was fine. Wakanda Forever, I thought was really, really good. Guardians 3 was really, really good. And then we started kind of like getting into this blurry territory. Like the Marvels, it wasn't awful, but they should have just gave us a Captain Marvel sequel. Why did they shoehorn all these characters in there? You know, and then you just start watering down the brand with like She-Hulk and Agatha. Who asked for an Agatha series? And you just start milking this stuff. Like, yes, we want content on Disney Plus, but it's about the content you're supposed to deliver, right? Why are you giving us stuff that we want to see on the big TV in our living room? Why? WandaVision worked. It worked. Loki, it worked. But man, Hawkeye should have been a movie. Falcon Winter Soldier should have been a movie. I mean, there's a lot of them that should have been movies. And I don't understand why you didn't do that. Why didn't you just take Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and say, hey, we're going to do that with Sword? The Agents of S.W.O.R.D. What's Nick Fury doing up there? Why is Secret Invasion a series with a horrible ending? Why wasn't Secret Invasion phase 4? Instead of doing a multiverse, man, let's do Secret Invasion. During the snap, man, the Skrulls took that time to invade. Like, why didn't we do that? Why wasn't phase 4 Secret Invasion? And we're trying to figure out who was swapped and who wasn't. This was in the comic books. This was all in the comic books. Why wasn't Secret Invasion all of phase 4 leading up to an Avengers Secret Invasion? Why didn't we have that? Why are we now like 5-6 years after Endgame and we still haven't had an Avengers movie? They fumbled the football because they were cocky. And this is where DC has the upper hand, because DC is in a rebuild stage. They got nothing to lose. If Superman fails, guess what? Our universe is dead before we even start, ladies and gentlemen. Wouldn't be the first time. DC's all about fumbling. They're the Detroit Lions. Well, guess what? They got a new coach, Jared Goff, and they're making the playoffs in the NFC Championship games. So DC is the Detroit Lions. And Marvel, who is used to winning for the first time, guess what? They're cut. They're the Russian. They're cut. And I know I'm throwing football and Rocky analogies in there, but that's sort of the way it is, guys. Yeah, I'm upset that this movie didn't do well. I mean, when we were doing our predictions on how much this movie was going to make, I said about 550 million, and I was being very conservative. Like, I was like, I don't think it's going to make that much, but, you know, but I thought that was a fair number. This movie didn't even break 400 million, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't even break 400 million. This makes me sad as a moviegoer and a fan. I want these properties to do well. But this has to show people you can't just throw any crap up on the screen and expect your audience to go. And it doesn't help that you didn't have a clear vision to let people know what was happening. I remember, like, everybody went to the theater to see Captain Marvel just because Nick Fury dropped the beeper. That was the type of power the MCU had. We had to know what was next. We had to piece everything together. What are we doing now? What are we doing now? Does Marvel even know what they were doing now? We can blame Chapek. We can blame Feige. We can blame COVID. But let's just be real. It's a multiple of different reasons. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you all have a great day. Do me a favor, please hit that like and subscribe button. Later, everybody.